there are no right or wrong decisions. Everything is really just a choice. So I'm back in New York City, where I lived somewhere between 7 and 8 years in the past. And I thought in the past that I might never ever move from here, that I'd never leave, or at least not in decades. But that's what I also had thought before at some point, twice actually. The first time in Buenos Aires, where I owned a bed and breakfast, and the second time in Rio de Janeiro, because actually, when I was in Buenos Aires, there was a point when I desired to move to Rio de Janeiro. I love this city so much, not just for its beaches, for its nature, the dancing, the tropical vegetation and the tropical climate, but also really for the beauty of it all, the whole package that this city is, and really, I mean, the nature, the beautiful nature that surrounds the city is just amazing. It is just such a marvelous setting this city has grown in, and in it's pretty much indescribable. I have never seen a city like Rio de Janeiro. Of course, it also has its other side, right? And that's quite intense too. But but then after and then actually this is a part of it, right? So because after partnering up with the wrong guy for a business, that business went downhill, and eventually I left for New York City. And I'll spare you more details around that. I've shared a lot about it on podcasts and mostly about the learnings from it and the mindset shift and all of that. And of course, also in my book, Living My Freaking Amazing Life, where I share lots of those incredible stories and adventures that I have lived so far. But then I came to New York City, right? And New York City appeared to be the ideal hub for me. It's well connected and close enough to Europe and other places. So it really was ideal, with lots of flights everywhere, easy to get to and to go from. A great place in many, many ways, enough to explore, to never get bored. And I'm somebody who easily gets bored. So yeah, there is always more in New York City, right? Lots of networking, business networking, and fun networking. Later, also speaking opportunities and a huge amount of dancing options. And I replaced my samba de gafieira and other Brazilian dances with kizomba, samba, and compa in New York City, and also later ndombolo and other African rhythms and whatnot. So there was so much for me in this city here. But then 2020 came and everything changed, and I left because I didn't want to do that insane lockdown thing. And so I left in March of 2020 already. Why am I telling you all this? Because we can always choose again. None of our decisions has to be final or forever, right? Eternal. Nothing needs to be forever. Everything can be temporary if we decide that it is. And have you ever gone back to a place where you lived during a considerable time, let's say at least a couple of years or so, and you're now going back years later? I lived in New York City for almost 8 years, most of it in Harlem, but also in other parts of town. Or maybe it was closer to 7 years. I'm not sure anymore. I didn't really exactly calculate it now, but it was definitely more than 7 years. And it's actually funny how my life seems to be happening in cycles of 7 years. So maybe I was just overdue already in New York City, overdue to leave, right? as I'd exceeded the 7 years. But I'm digressing. So, have you ever gone back to such a place where you lived before? How did that feel to you? Did it still feel like home? Did you still feel at home or at least welcome? Or did you feel like a stranger or like you didn't belong there anymore? What was your experience? And maybe you've had multiple such experiences like I have. To me, it's such a been such a weird experience every single time, sometimes very emotional. Whether it was Munich, Madrid, Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, San Francisco, Rio de Janeiro, New York, or even Lisbon, where I never really lived, but traveled to for work weekly for years. There's this nostalgia and this weird sensation of being an outside observer all of a sudden, an onlooker, but at the same time, it's a part of you, right? Or you're a part of it. I don't know. But at the same time, you also think or feel rather that you're not being a part of it anymore. This is somehow split energy. And may I say that I sometimes even feel that way when I visit home, although that's always going to be home, right? So my original home of this physical existence here, it's always going to be home to me. We say home is where your heart is. And yeah, that's true, but my original home will always have a special place in my heart. That's for sure. It's just that my life has been so different to the lives of my family, my other family members, right? Two of my siblings have lived in other places of Germany and Austria, but I'm the only one who's been away for so long and so far. And so I feel a bit more disconnected, like when they talk about other people or even also about lots of nearby places, and they say, hey, have you heard this and that, whatnot, or should we go this and there, and I usually don't know who or where these are, and that's strange to me because I was born there too. I was actually the first of five siblings born there, right? So my knowledge of the area is more limited. Like, the wonderful mountains we have there. Yes, I've been to a lot of them, especially as a young girl with my dad and sometimes also with my mom. But, I don't know these places as well as my siblings do. And so I can't always follow all the conversations. And that also feels a bit strange sometimes. So anyway, I guess what I want to get at is just sharing this experience and curious about what other people feel in those situations. And also just again making the point that we always have a choice. We can also go back to a place that we chose before and that we'd already left behind, although that's not usually what I do. But you never know, right? Maybe I'll do it someday. So, what's your experience? And one thing that I want to say as well is that choices are often also trade-offs, but choices are never right or wrong. They are just choices.